Welcome, my constant reader friends. I'm Tad, and this is Tad Reads Books and Stuff. All right, so I finally finished a novel for this week. Yeah, I've had a tough time in November, but we're carrying it on through to December. Now, let me just do a little update. We are still going strong with Harrow County Omnibus 1. This is, of course, the graphic novel that I'm reading with Graz from the GKBC and our marvelous team-up that we do. This is by Cullen Bunn and Tyler Crook, a horror graphic novel. And you will be seeing the next video for this Tuesday. So if you've been following that series, thank you. Next episode, Tuesday. All right, so we're doing that. Also, as you know, I'm carrying over from November Lonesome Dove, which was a buddy read with Graz on the GKBC. I have not touched this at all. I'm still at about 400 pages, about halfway through. But we will be finishing this by the end of December, I promise. So we'll get to that. Also, another buddy read with Graz was Station 11 by Emily St. John Mandel. This book is going well, but I'm only about halfway through with it. I will be doing the video for this next week. I will finish this next week. It's going good. I didn't stop reading it because of any issues with it. I just started reading this next book, and as so oftentimes happens, I couldn't put it down. And that's the book I finished this week. And that is Dust. Yep. Book 3 in the Silo series by Hugh Howey. So if you recall, I've already done a video for Wool. Wool was the first book in the trilogy. You can look back, I did this in April. Then, of course, the second book in the series, Shift. Shift I did in July. And rounding out the trilogy, Dust, well, maybe not a trilogy, as you'll see. I finished that this month. So we're going to talk about this next. But also with that, when I bought the box set, it came with Silo Stories. And on here it says number 4. So I guess they're saying there's actually 4 novels in the series. And I finished this. We're going to talk about this too. 3 short stories. But first, let's get on with our discussion of Dust. Yeah, this was the third and final story in the trilogy for Silo. Now, this book was originally published in January of 2013. So it's been a minute. It's been 10 years. There is a TV series for Silo. I haven't checked it out. So if you have, let me know what you think of it. I can't remember. I think it's like on Apple TV or something, which is a channel I don't have. So I haven't been able to check that out yet. But let me know if you have. My version has 468 pages. Now on Goodreads, this book has a 4.25 rating, which is pretty darn good. I'll just let you know right off the bat, I gave it 3 stars. Now, Shift, the second book in the series, if you go back and check out my video, I did rate this as 3 stars as well. You can check out that video to see why. And Wool, I gave 4 stars. So this, in my opinion, is the best book in the series. The second book kind of goes back and kind of tells the origin stories of some of the things. So you kind of lose, your momentum from Wool. But it does pick up from where we left off at Wool towards the end. And Dust picks off directly after that. And of course, again, I gave it 3 stars. So, I mean, it's enjoyable. But let's talk about it a little bit. I don't want to say that I have issues with it, but I kind of do. It is almost like, okay, let's try to wrap this up as nicely as we can. There are a lot of loose ends after you finish Shift. And we do, when we open up with Dust. So we know that Juliet is back in Silo 18. She is now the mayor of Silo 18. Of course, she's with her lover and best friend Lucas. Lucas is, I believe, Lucas is the sheriff now. So they're a team. They're trying to run Silo 18 better than it, originally had been run. But she's super pissed off. She wants to expose the whole conspiracy. She wants to take down Silo 1. And she just wants everyone to live and be able to make their own decisions. But it's hard in this type of environment, which you've seen through these preceding books, how hard it is just to survive in this environment. But over a couple hundred years, they've figured out how to do it. They are surviving. There's almost like a caste system, depending on the levels that you are living on in your job in the silo. But Jules doesn't want to be that old-time mayor, just, making these decisions for everybody. She wants people to have free will, and she wants to educate them of the real outside and what's going on with the whole conspiracy of the silos and ending the world. But she can't just do that. I mean, it would send people into panic, and there'd probably be incredible uprisings and civil war. She has been able to make contact with somebody in Silo 1, who of course is Donald. We know Donald from, of course, Wool, the first series. And Donald is with his sister trying to right the wrongs of this new world order that was, started by Thurman. And he's kind of changed place with Thurman. Thurman's in the cryogenic sleep right now at the beginning of the book. But that gets exposed. And so Donald has been in communication with Lucas and Juliet in Silo 18. But Juliet her mind is elsewhere. Her mind is, first off, I've got to honor my promise to save Solo and the young family that they discovered in Silo 17. And she knows that there's this machine that she thinks can dig underneath the ground between silos. She thinks she can get there, break into Silo 17 and save them. So that's her mind. Her mindset is just to do that. So she's doing this dig. It's the dig down below, hammering through the wall of the silo because she thinks there's that machine, the digger machine, on the other side of the silo right there. And eventually she does find it. But in the interim, Lucas is going crazy because people have all kinds of questions. Some of them don't even believe that Juliet actually, went out and then came back, and they don't believe some of the rumors and stories, but Juliet just can't come out and say everything. It's kind of convoluted. And she's just focused on this dig, and Lucas is saying, you got to act like mayor or people are going to revolt. It's a touchy subject, and I don't think very well done. I gave it 3 stars because it's an enjoyable ending to the series. I don't think it's well more well written than any of the other books. It's kind of slow, very slow in paces. The story is almost, oh, what do I want to say? You can kind of see it coming. You know what's going to happen. When you first start the book, you don't know, is it going to be a happy ending or what? But by the time you get into it a little bit, you can kind of see the writing on the wall and what's going to happen. So that was kind of boring. Yes, she finds the digger. Yes, she gets to Silo 17. She saves Solo. Solo comes over with the kids, and it causes havoc in the silo. People start revolting, going crazy. Then Thurman wakes up. I don't want to tell you everything, but Thurman wakes up, and they discover that someone else had taken his identity, and they find out it's Donald. But Donald now is working with his sister, and they're in the hangar. They're trying to get the drones ready, and Donald's working on making a suit similar to how Juliet made her suit, so he can go out into the world. But then there's a little twist there. I'm not going to give that away, but they get discovered. I'm sorry, it's kind of, the whole thing is convoluted, and it gets so goofy and crazy in places that it creates even more questions. By the end of the story, you've got so many questions up in the air that aren't resolved, that you don't know what happens. I'm not going to give away what happens, but eventually Juliet takes the digger and goes, well, they talk about going to where they've got this map of all the silos. There's a place called Seed. They think that's where, at the end of this all, one silo is supposed to survive all the rest and be the ones that go out and reseed, the population of Earth. I'm not going to give too much of that away, but eventually they do get away from Silo 18, back to Silo 17, back to, I don't know, where the world is alive and fine. You got to read it. If you've read this far through books 1 and 2, Wool and Shift, yes, you definitely want to read this. It is a satisfying ending, but it's a little weak for me. It's a little milquetoast for me. There's some crazy things that happen. There's a death that happens that is ridiculous, and they don't even, flesh out that person anyway, so you don't care about that person. The characters have become even more cardboard. Yeah, jeez. It's not great. It's not bad. Again, if you've read the first two, and the first two are, for a lot of people, that one of their favorite dystopian type novels, series that they've ever read. And it is decent. I mean, it's worth reading. It just did nothing for me. It didn't, there was no like, awesome, great, woo, oh, this is amazing. No, it plods along. You kind of know what's going to happen. It leaves too many loose ends, things up in the air. It's not the greatest thing I've ever read. I'll be honest with you. Overall, the series is cool. I like it. I gave it 3 stars, like I said. Again, if you've read 1 and 2, Wool and Shift, yeah, you got to read this. Go ahead and read it. You're going to enjoy it. It's fine. It's just, I don't want to overanalyze it, because if I do, I'm going to find out that maybe I don't like it at all. And I just want to enjoy it for what it was. Easy read. That's why I finished it so fast before anything else. I'm already familiar with the world. I'm already familiar with the author and his style of writing. I'm already familiar with the characters. It's an easy read. Nothing, to make you even think too much. Wool, the first book, I've got my brain thinking, oh, wow, this is interesting, cool. Not by the time you get to Shift. Dust. I'm sorry. It is what it is. So let's stop talking about Dust and go to Silo. Silo stories. So Silo Stories is actually copywritten in 2017, and originally came out in various forms like on Kindle. And then, of course, for this box set, they put it in print form. This has 60 pages to it. It's 3 short stories. On Goodreads, it's a 3.79, and I gave this a 4. Yeah, this 3 short stories, 60 pages, 20 pages a story is better than Dust. There, I said it. Very interesting. A little bit different writing styles even in this when you read it. And quite devastating. If you've read the 3 and you haven't read this, please, you must read this. This is very interesting. So it starts off with In the Air. The name of the first story is called In the Air. And, well, you know what I'm going to do? Let me just read you the blurb on the back of the book real quick. Their plan was to save humanity. But first, they had to wipe out everyone on Earth. A lucky few would survive in underground silos. The unlucky would die without warning. Not everyone agrees with this plan, but there's nothing they can do to stop it. So they build a bunker of their own. They decide to wait, however long it takes, and then extract vengeance on the people who would kill so many to save a fortunate few. These are the Silo Stories, tales from the before, tales of the hereafter. It's really good. Yes, the first story, In the Air. So we start off, we meet this guy, John. We meet his wife, Barbara, and we meet their daughter, Emily. We also meet his lover, Tracy. Now, John is, they don't really say CIA, NSA, some type of person that's in the know. And he actually has a copy of the order. He's been given a copy of the order. He's been given tickets to Atlanta, so he can go and join the people in the silos. He's read through the order. He knows what's going on. He's kind of not a great guy. He works, like I said, for some secret organization in the government, and pretty much they kind of allude to the fact that he's like a murderer. He kills people around the globe. Well, he works with Tracy. Tracy and he become lovers and on a mission. Tracy finds the book in the nightstand where they're staying in a hotel. Says the order. She says, "Oh, what says the Bible?" And he says, "Short kind of Bible. It's a survivalist book." He goes back to sleep, and she takes the order into the bathroom, and on her phone just takes pictures of every page of it. So now she has the order. She finds out what's going on. And so in this story, though, we're seeing that John has decided that he and his wife and his daughter are not going to go to the silos, and they're not going to go to the mountain. We'll talk about the mountain. They have taken or been inoculated against the nanobots that are in your body that are going to kill everybody in the world, along with the nuclear holocaust. And this does occur. You'll see what happens with that. I'm not going to give too much of that away, but that's where we start off. It's called In the Air. The second story is called The Mountain. And The Mountain is Tracy's story. Tracy, of course, John's lover, who now has a copy of the order. Now, she's built her own cadre of survivors, and she leads thousands of them that they have inoculated against these nanobots that are going to kill everybody, and have taken over a bomb shelter in Colorado, in the mountains of Colorado. And their goal is to survive this. Survive the nanobots, survive any nuclear winter that may be caused from the New World Order's attack on Earth. So that's her story. of them going to the shelter. She's hoping John's going to come, but he does not. We see what happens in that shelter. All these stories are about 20 pages long. I'm serious. Very, very good stories. Better than Dust. The third story is called In the Woods. So we have In the Air, In the Mountain, In the Woods. In the Woods is the final story, and it's basically the survivors of the mountain and their mission to find the silos. And I'm being very vague. I'm not telling you any really a lot about either of these really. These stories are great. They're devastating. They're going to hit you in the chest where the dust kind of just laid there flat on the table. So if you have the ability to get this or find it on Kindle or online, or just buy the box set like I did, I think you'd be pleasantly surprised if you read this. I really like this a lot. It kind of, I don't know, redeemed Dust for me. Even though, again, Dust wasn't horrible. It is what it is. It's a satisfactory ending to the Silo trilogy or quad, whatever it ends up being. There's a lot of fan fiction out there. Hugh Howey is very appreciative of fan fiction and encourages it. So you can find those stories out there too. Very interesting. So anyways, what I'd like to know is what you thought of the series. I'd like to know if you have watched the TV series, what you think of it. And like every other video, if you find any entertaining value in my videos, please like, subscribe, leave me tons of comments. And until next time, peace out.